Hi, I'm Jack Wong. I'm a senior lecturer in Sunway TES. I've been in this particular organization since 2008, and I specialize in business management, strategy, and thinking skills. So at this point in time, I'm teaching the program ICAEW and CFAP. What is excellence in education? I've got 5 key points for you. So they are empathy, experiential, enjoyable, empowerment, and evolving. So let me share with you what is an excellent education. Empathy is very important because the person that we are teaching is a human being. They have social needs, they have emotional needs. Every individual is different. So one size does not fit all. So therefore, we have to curate a system and a method that is going to fit everybody's needs. And how do we do that? Is when we have things like hybrid learning now, whereby if you're an individual who loves to come to class and interact with individuals, we are going to have the opportunity to allow you to do that. And if you want to sit in front of a computer and you're not a person that is a morning person, it allows you to have the opportunity to stay at home and do the studies. So with all these technologies that's coming in, right, we can actually engage and use all these technologies to appreciate that every individual is different. And with that, our classes are going to be more engaging because we appreciate and understand that everyone is different. So therefore, when a student comes into our class, I will have to really understand what is it that they need, all right? Because I can't just force my methods onto them. So when I learn about a student, I will see perhaps this student will prefer more of a push. Perhaps this student would like to be left alone. All right. So when we have this understanding of this individual, that this human being, all right, this particular individual has feelings, have needs, have different background, have different situations, all right, whereby they could be facing issues or they could be very happy. Okay. So what happens is we have to have the understanding, and then we curate a very individualized, personalized path for them. Okay. That is going to make them to be an individual that is successful. Because one size does not fit all. Individuals are different. We have to have empathy for the individual that is sitting in front of the screen or the person that is sitting in front of me. Experiential. So when we teach students, it's important for us to appreciate that students have to go through an experience. They have to go through the process of watching, thinking, doing, and feeling. Why this process? Is because it will be able to stimulate the students' ability to manage their critical thinking as well as the creative thinking. So how are we going to do that is to be able to curate a process where the students are not just going to be watching. There's no point for me to just keep on spoon feeding the students, all right? Because the students are the ones that are going to be taking the examination. They need to know how to do it. So they have to be taken through the experience of going through the examination, going through the process of making decisions as a professional accountant. And that's what is a very key important thing that I always uphold in our classes. Enjoyable. How do we make our classes enjoyable? Very important is to make sure that the classes are engaging. So we have to always appreciate that students are social beings. So therefore, in our classes, it's important for us to always get the students to interact with each other. So even though during the pandemic, all right, whereby students are not able to physically be together, so what do? We have to ensure that, our classes are engaging in the way that they can interact with each other, working in groups, working in teams. And with that, they are going to be able to stimulate the feeling of what is the course is about. So this is going to immerse the students in a process whereby it's going to be an enjoyable process. And on top of that, we have to curate the whole program in a way that it's going to be like a storytelling. Okay, so we're going to get the students to be characters, solving problems, that is going to ensure that they know exactly what is it like to be in a situation that could be difficult. So I'm sure when you watch a movie, you go through the ups and downs. All right. So same thing, to make it enjoyable in class, we have to also ensure that there is peaks and downs. Very important reason is because you have to take them through an emotional roller coaster. All right, so how do we do that? Get them to solve problems, get them to immerse themselves into, if you were to be this particular individual or director of a company, how are you going to handle the situation? How are you going to be able to solve these problems, not by yourself, but together with your friends? Because human beings are also social beings. So when you are able to understand this particular point, all right, we will then be able to understand how to engage students to ensure that the classes are going to be enjoyable. Empowerment. So the key to this is a very simple phrase that we always see is that if you give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, you feed him for life. So this is where it's important for us to understand that who is going to be taking the examination is not me, it's actually the students. So if I were to be going on techniques such as spoon feeding the students, we are basically going to cause more harm than good. So this is where we have to appreciate that understanding what the students need to do in the future, that they need to be able to solve real life problems in the future. So I cannot be solving all the problems for them, but however, I will need to be able to empowering them, giving them the tools and techniques on how to solve those problems. But of course, that process will require coaching. That process will require me to hold their hands to ensure that they are taken through the process of solving those problems. So, and because the ICAEW program allows us to do that from the certificate level to the professional level to the advanced level, and they are being advanced bit by bit on learning how to think. Because eventually what is important is they are going to be independent. It's like raising a child. When you raise a child, what happens is when they are growing up, when they are a kid, what do you have to do? We have to ensure that we hold their hands, right? So that they are able to walk. But then when they are going to the kindergarten, when they're going to the secondary school, when they are becoming an adult, the process will have to evolve. And therefore, our techniques from the lower level of the certificate level, the professional level to the higher level, we have to empower our students slowly, bit by bit, to encourage them to think independently and to be able to make real life decisions in the real world. Then only they become real professionals. It will be very silly for us to be training students in the way that they are going to come back to you and ask you, how do we solve a problem like this? Well, if that is the case, we are not empowering them. Okay, we are crippling them. So I try my level best to ensure that I avoid techniques such as spoon feeding our students, because at the end of the day, it will do more harm. So therefore, the techniques is all going to be focused on empowering our students bit by bit to ensure that they're going to be independent professional adults that are going to be in the real world, right? Because real life, there's no exact same solution, right? They just have to think and how to solve the problem. So we have to empower them from the start to the end. Evolving. Let's talk about how classes have evolved. We used to sit in the class and we had to copy notes. So things are evolving, and what do we do now? We have to sit in front of a computer, and this gives us the opportunity to use more technology in the class. And technology is good. Why? Because in the past, you have to copy down notes. And some students will think that, oh, it's important for us to now copy notes by using our phones and just snap the whiteboard. But then again, all right, we have an even faster way now. We use things like Microsoft OneNote, and that allows us to share our notes real time with our students. And if the students couldn't catch what I'm saying now, what happens is they can also watch the recording again and again and again. And if they find that I'm talking too slow, they can always going to increase the speed. Or if I'm talking too fast, what do? They can slow me down. So this is going to allow the students to have this ability to get a more engaging experience that is suited for their needs. And that's where, if we don't use technology in class, it's going to actually not take advantage of all these evolving techniques that is going to make the learning experience even more engaging. And what happens is, just like an accountant, all right, in the past, we will think that accountants are going to be just processing numbers. But now, okay, accountants are going on the higher order thinking skills, whereby they will have to think about how to solve a problem. So same thing in class, all right? We will take away the process of taking notes from them, take away the problem of worrying that they can't listen to the class on time. So it makes it more interactive, it makes it more engaging, because they are now focusing on solving problems. They are focusing on engaging with their friends online, whereby in our class, we can break them up into groups, they can engage with each other, and that is going to be able to help them to focus on the higher order thinking, and that is the key importance now. So our exam, our what we call the way that we teach now is going to take advantage of all these technologies, and all these technologies are not just only able to make our job easier, but on top of that, it allows the students to focus on the more important things. All right, the more important things, which are the higher order thinking, as well as learning how to interact with their friends and to engage with their peers. So that is where the technology has evolved. And as a lecturer, we also have to evolve and to ensure that we adapt the right technology, and the focus of what we need is to empower the students, is to be able to engage them, and is able to also appreciate that every single student is different. Therefore, this is where we are different in the way that we teach.